Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 9 team list. Also, I thought I'm not doing I haven't been doing a separate video for my actual tips for the NRL round. So I thought we might as well, while we go through the team list, we might as well give out, because I usually give my thoughts on the games anyway. So I'll give my tips. I'll give my tips for the round. Just because as well, probably the the team lists are going to get a little bit less and less sort of exciting, I guess, as the rounds go on. There's going to be less changes and whatnot. I do see that poor old Jason Demetrio has been given the boot. Also, I see here DCE has been cleared of his suspension, which, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it seemed a little crazy that him and Olakau'atu were going to face 2 weeks on the sideline. So I think it's fair. I know people will be upset about that, but it is what it is. But let's get in for the first game of the round. The who's taking out Hornby to take charge as the interim. So Rabbitohs v Penrith. I guess this could be interesting. Are there going to be any changes for the Rabbits? Doesn't look like it. Tane Milne obviously out with suspension. That means Isaac Thompson comes in onto the right, you would expect. Hopefully Gagai stays on the left-hand wing spot, which I'd assume he would. Excuse me. Jack White still in the centres. I know there was talk that he might go into the halves. Honestly, I think I guess they are down a lot of outside backs, so I don't know if they've really got anyone to sort of go into that centre spot, but yeah, Dean Hawkins, I've been very, very unimpressed with Dean Hawkins, and yeah, it sort of bit him in the arse here with Lachlan Ilias getting dropped and now suffering a very serious injury in New South Wales Cup. They sort of have to stick with Hawkins at the moment. I guess until potentially Mitchell comes back and they could make a few changes potentially. But yeah, Thompson, the main change there, the forward pack. Dave Moali is starting. Did he start last week? I'm not too sure. Michael Cheekham still in the back row with Jacob Host. I mean, it's just not a very exciting back row, is it? I mean, Cam Murray is still going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Oh, that's right. Fucking Keon Kalamatangi was at prop last week as well. Insane. I don't know. I mean, granted, Kalamatangi on the edge this whole year has been very disappointing. He's been a non-factor. I just haven't even noticed him. Even at prop last week, yeah, I don't know. He's, I guess it's just a whole, just everything going on. The Rabbits as a whole have just gone downhill quickly, and Kalamatangi is sort of the poster boy for that. He was one of the best back rowers in the comp there, and he's turned to not much, and now he's in the goddamn front row. Peter Mamazula is still the 14, Havili, Burgess, and Arrow on the bench. The Penny Panthers, so Liam Henry is out, which is interesting. Sonny Taruva does come back in for Alamotti, so there was obviously a bit of conjecture, was Taruva actually out? Did Cleary get the shits and drop him, or did he actually have a niggle? I mean, it would have been a little weird if he was just sort of dropped because he signed with a new club, because obviously there's been quite a few Penrith players that have signed with other teams in the past that haven't been given the boots from the team. So it's fair enough he's come back in if it was a slight niggle or whatnot. Isaac Tungo, Taylor May, obviously, Nathan Cleary for his second game back. And Mosley Ota comes back into the starting side. Still no Scott Sorensen, so Luke Garner's still in the back row. And Laurie, Smith, Eisenhuth, and Maverick Geyer holds his spot. So I haven't heard anything on Liam Henry. Obviously, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I'm not too fussed that he's out. I mean, I wasn't going to play him this week anyway, so it's fine. Doesn't really impact my my Supercoach at all. I mean, yeah, we'll talk more about what I'm going to do with him in the upcoming video. But I mean, you can't. I mean, this one, as much as I'd love to say a Rabbitohs bounce back is on the cards, it may very well be. Although it's always like a bit misleading. Like there's always a lot of talk that, you know, the coach has been sacked and all of a sudden the team plays a lot better that next week. It's not usually the case. I still think the majority is they still lose the next game. You can't not pick Penrith, especially because they did win last start, but it was a bit of a scrappy performance. Obviously, Cleary getting a little bit, coming back into it after a long layoff. He was a bit sloppy as well. Just in general, and defensively, they weren't at their best. So you'd expect a little bit of a bounce back for the Panthers as well. So should be a tough night at the office for the Rabbitohs. At least they get to get it out of the way nice and early. They're playing in Thursday night, so they don't have to sort of, especially Rabbitohs fans, they don't have to wait all weekend for this very tough matchup. Then we move on to the Seagulls v the Raiders. So obviously Olakau'atu, I think they just accepted his ban. So he's 2 weeks. Which is, I mean, a pretty big hole to fill. That is for sure. I mean, he's just the absolute strike weapon on the edge. I mean, the thing with Olakau'atu, you know it's coming, but you still, you just have to, you can't necessarily put more defenders on him. And even if you do, he's just so damaging that it's a massive, massive loss for Manly. It'll be interesting to see how they sort of play without him in the side. I mean, Cherry Evans does sort of rely on his just giving him the ball nice and early a lot, but they'll still go well. I mean, their attack is still very good. Backline is as you would expect. Forward pack now is Ethan Bullimore comes into the back row. Obviously, Corey Waddell's still there for Benny Trebojevic, who's still out. Jake Trebojevic. Matt Lodge, Brown, Sipley, and Lawton. You know, it's a pretty big bench, at least. And then you have the Raiders. So, okay, quite a few changes. Albert Hopewadi comes in for Chevy Stewart, which, I mean, it's fair enough. I wouldn't even say it's hard on Stewart. I just, he looks like a good young talent for the future. He goes hard, but, it's a very tough start for him. He played very well in his debut game, but he's had a couple of tough games, and I think he's not quite ready for the rears of back-to-back weeks in first grade. So it's fair enough. I still don't really understand Albert Hopewadi at fullback. You see Xavier Savage and also Sebastian Chris, who I thought played really well there last year, even though I didn't think he would be a good fullback. Albert Hopewadi, I don't know. I could be proven wrong. He doesn't look like a fullback. He looks like just an out-and-out winger. But I don't know. We'll see. I guess I probably haven't seen enough of him at fullback. But I don't know. Maybe he does have some skill like his. Is it his brother Will Hopewadi? There's so many Hopewadis, but obviously Will was exceptional everywhere he played. So Albert maybe can do the job. The rest of the backline, Nick Kotrick comes in for Schiller, who I guess is dropped as well. I mean, I don't know, a bit strange again. Nick Kotrick, I don't know. I thought Schiller, defensively, he's been a little bit weak for sure, but I think he provides enough attack and just, good bustling runs. Kotrick is a strong ball carrier as well, but his defense is god awful as well. So I don't really understand the dropping there, but I guess they needed to make some changes, bring a bit of experience. They went 1 week with all the kids in the team to just going back to the old firm. So I mean, it's fair enough. Without Fogarty, it was a big sort of reality check for the Raiders. Ethan Strange, KO Weeks get their second start partnering each other. We'll see how that goes. Forward pack, it's still a very strong forward pack. I mean, Danny Levi is sort of the odd man out in this forward pack. He does a job, but yeah, it's I don't know. what the hell did Tommy Starling do to Ricky Stewart? I feel like Starling could have been like a very, very good dummy half. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I every time I see Starling play, I'm pretty excited to watch him, and I think he does a good job. He's like a mini Damien Cook. He's strong defensively. He offers a lot more spark at a dummy half. I don't understand. I mean, I know he's the 14, but he's barely getting any minutes. And Denny Levi, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Elliot Whitehead comes back in, which is a big boost, obviously, with a couple of players out in the back row for them. So that's a big plus. Bench, Emre Gula comes in. I know he hasn't played for a while, so again, Emre Gula was very good for them last couple of years, so he's probably been a bit unlucky not to get a spot in this team to start the year as is. But again, I mean, I'm going to go with a very obvious tip of the Manly boys in this one. It's at 4 Pines Park. Manly can be a bit lax defensively, but I just think they got a little bit too much attack, even with the loss of Olakau'atu. I think the Raiders, I don't know, what are they going to dish up? Like they couldn't really do much for Ricky's milestone game last week. So I don't know. Are they going to be up for this game? We'll see. I still think Manly are a bit too strong for them in this one. Moving on, Broncos v Roosters. So obviously a couple of potential ins for the Bronx. It looks like Selwyn Cobbo has been named. I did see that he was training with the main squad, but he had like the non-contact bib. So we'll see. I think Cobbo, I don't know if he's like confirmed. He might be sort of a late scratching. So keep an eye on Teamlists, I guess, if I don't know, I guess if he's in your Supercoach team. Reece Walsh has been named, obviously. He had those, the cramps, the sickness. He's just, he's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I thought he'd be good to go. Obviously, not as bad as it seemed at the time. Ezra Mam looks like he's back, which is great. And obviously, with Jock Madden also being out injured, it's a big in for the Bronx. Adam Reynolds also named, which is good. Forward pack, Peter Cora still there, Payne Haas, Ricky Carrigan. I mean, it's looking a lot stronger than it was a few weeks ago, that's for sure. Tyson Smoothie, Xavier Willison, my God. Willison has just become like, he's so good. Like, he's so fucking good. I mean, we all knew it. We all knew he was an absolute monster. I didn't expect him to be this good, like his first few games, but he's looking like an absolute beast out there. Like, I am mighty, what's the word? Impressed. Like, I had a blank there, but I'm mighty impressed with Xavier Willison. Like, you knew you had a good one in Xavier Willison, but he is just I mean, the impact he's providing off the bench, and not just his like attack. Obviously, he's a big, rangy, mobile forward, but his defense has been sensational as well, which is the main thing you want from like young forwards coming in, is just being rock solid defensively, and he has. So yeah, he is an absolute weapon, and it's just such a good punch. Like, obviously Payne Haas going off, like being able to bring Xavier Willison on when Payne Haas is off the field. Obviously he's not at Payne Haas's level, but he does provide that similar type of impact as a Payne Haas would bring. So it's such a nice 1-2 punch. Kobe Hetherington has finally found a bit of form. I mean, he's one of my favorite players. He's been great the last couple of years. He's been pretty trash to start the year, I'm not going to lie, but he's come back into his own last few weeks. He's looking a lot better than he was, and then Fletcher Baker does the job, I guess, and then the Roosters, so the back line, full strength, I guess. Luke Keary, Walker, forward pack, Engs, same as last week. The bench is the same. So Sia Wong. No Radley still. That's the That's the one who's still missing. But I mean, Connor Watson does a great job at lock. I think it is his best position, just having that freedom to run, be able to pass. I think he's very, very dangerous at that at the lock spot. They don't have like a... I guess this was a bench they did last week. It must have been Connor Watson went into dummy half when someone like a Sia Wong came on the field, because Brandon Smith obviously doesn't play 80 minutes. So I guess that's what they must have done last week. I wasn't really paying attention too closely. They were scoring too many points to really worry about it. Nafahu White, Egan Butcher, Terrell May. I mean, it's not good for Terrell May having four, like, I mean, Sia Wong is like an edge back row, but he definitely can play through the middle. Egan Butcher the same. He's probably better through the middle. So having like 4 middle forwards on the bench, it's looking a little bad for our boy Terrell May. I'll talk more. Yeah, we'll discuss more about Terrell May in the preview. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tip the Bronx. I mean, it should be a tough game. Obviously, a bit of a grudge match after the Vegas match. The Roosters won, bit of controversy. But I think the Bronx getting a few players back, starting to hit their straps. I mean, the Roosters, obviously, they're you'd say they're hitting the straps as well. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not confident. I'm definitely not confident, but I got to tip my boys in this one. I think if they play their best footy, they should win this. But if the Roosters... I don't know, if the Roosters and the Bronx play their best footy... Who has the better side? I don't know. You'd probably give the Bronx a slight nod in the halves, in my opinion, and probably not a slight nod. I think they do have the better halves as a whole, just their overall game. The back lines, I'd probably, as much as I hate to say, you'd probably go with the Roosters. Fullbacks, I do think Walsh is better than Tedesco at this point. Obviously, they offer different aspects, but personally, I think Walsh is a better overall fullback. A few more mistakes. I will acknowledge that. A few extra mistakes than Tedesco. And then the forward packs, I mean, I'd say the Roosters overall is a bit higher quality, but I mean, Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, Piakora Ricky, some X factor there, and then Willison. But overall, like, the Roosters have like just really good forwards all across the park. So very, very exciting game coming up. But I got to tip my boys in that one. Moving on, Bulldogs v West Tigers. So this is an interesting game. Obviously, Doggies coming off a bye, but also coming off some very good form just as a whole. They're sitting inside the 8, which is exciting for fans. They should be pretty much, well, as full strength as they can be, I guess, without the injuries. Connor Tracy still at fullback, Jacob Kiraz on the wing. We'll talk a lot more about Kiraz in our preview. Sherry is looking very good. Steph Crichton, he's looking very good as well. Josh Adekar is finding his best form. Matt Byrne, Drew Hutchison. I still think it's a little undecided on their halves combo, but I mean, Burden is playing great footy, and Hutchison is he's doing a job. He's doing his job, I guess. So it is working. I still think it is the one area that is letting them down, though, in those games against the better teams, for sure. Forward pack, Josh Curran actually is starting at prop. We'll see if that maintains. Obviously, it's they switch the forward pack all the time with the Dogs, so it doesn't really matter. Curran's going to play big minutes regardless. Kurt Mann is the starting lock. And then the bench of Hayward, Hughes, Morin, and Taff. I mean, that is a great bench for Sam Hughes and Josh Curran, because Taff, I mean, he might probably dependent on an injury, or if they want to give him a few minutes at the end. And Hayward is more that, I mean, he is a half/hooker, so yeah, he might come on as a lock, I guess, but they don't have, and Curtis Morin doesn't play big minutes, so I think Curran is in for a big minute game here. And then the Tigers, so Obviously, we get the second game of Solomon Alamale, the rugby convert. I thought he was pretty good. I don't know. He's probably one of these cheapies that I think, personally, I'm probably going to let go through. Just like, God, what was the other guy's name? Fatape. Like, he was a cheapie. I don't know if he made really much cash at all because he wasn't very good. But you don't have to pick up every cheapie, and I feel like unless obviously Alamole comes out and goes massive and he has a huge like negative break even, then you might pick him up for a good amount of cash. But I don't know. I think he's a guy you let go. Brent Naden still in the centers. I think it's just like, I don't know. Fatape, I was not impressed with him at all. I think Naden, I'd much prefer Naden as a Tigers fan. He obviously has a lot more errors and a lot more silly stuff in his game, but he is an attacking threat. Like he can do stuff from nothing that a lot of other players can't. So I think it's better for the Tigers having just a bit more X factor in their back line. The halves, obviously Lockie Galvin looking just such a damn good player, partnering Aiden Caesar, who is his form has been down a little bit, Aiden Caesar, but I still think he's been very good for them to start the year. He's done a job. Api Coruscant has been named, so obviously that back issue is not... I mean, it's hard to say it's not anything serious. I still think he's probably... I don't know. Coruscant is always a guy that looks like he's playing a little bit busted at times, so it probably is one of those ones where he's going to be a little bit, not 100% for a while, but obviously great to see him named. Forward pack, as you'd expect, Semi Fanu is still in the back row, which is good. He's definitely... I mean, again, we'll look more at Finu in the preview, but it's nice that he got sin bin last week because you definitely don't have to pick him up again this week. You can definitely give it another week to wait and see, but we'll talk more about that in the preview. Bench, Ladi Finu, Twal, Seyfarth, and Pole. This one's tough. I know the Dogs have been in good form, but I feel like this is the type of game the Tigers can win. But I'm sorry, I'm boring. I'm going to go with the favourites of the Doggies in this one. I think they're looking good. And I mean, the biggest thing with the Dogs that's impressed me is their defence. Like, they've been way better defensively, which just means that they're more likely to win those games, you know? Rather than conceding like 18 to 20 points every game, they're conceding way less than that, so they only have to score like 3 or 4 tries, and they're sort of like, they're locked in. Obviously, it's not as simple as that, but yeah, I think the Dogs have been impressive. I think the biggest thing there is their defense, and I think the Tigers, they've been good in patches, but their attack is still a little weak, so I don't know if they're going to have the points to sort of blow the Dogs out in this one. So, going to tip the Dogs in this Saturday game. Moving on, we've got the Titans v the Storm. I mean, we probably don't have to ponder the tip in this one too closely, but we'll talk about it. The Titans, obviously, Brimson still at the fullback spot. Harley Smith-Shields comes back in, so he was a late out. I think in the warm-up he did something, and obviously Aaron Shop came in. I thought Shop actually looked pretty good, so I'm a little surprised to see him lose his spot, but I guess Smith-Shields sort of won the spot despite that little niggle that kept him out. Tanner Boyd had a great game last week. I mean, people give him a lot of shit, but he's always had the talent to be a decent number 7. I don't think he's never going to be a world-beating number 7, but he can be a good halfback in a team. Like, he's got a good kicking game. He's got a decent running game. Like, he's got like just average to above average in every stat. He's just, if he has an off game, that's where it all falls apart. But he had a great game last week, so hopefully he can just continue that momentum, because it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a real tough one for the Titans here. Kieran Foran obviously there. Forward pack, Joe Stimson comes in at prop for the big loss of Mo Fotuaika, which is just man, already missing Tino and now Big Mo. It's, yeah, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle in the forwards, I think, this one. Chris Randall, Jolliffe has been very good. Fafita is starting, but we'll see. He might be a late switch, but he's been good. Bo Fernball, it's been solid. Isaac Liu does something. I don't know. Ever since moving to the Titans, I just feel like Liu, he just doesn't do anything, but he's there. Semi Verrills, Clark, Cleese Haas. I'm actually surprised Cleese Haas had been dropped from the starting lock position. I thought he was great last week, Cleese Haas. I thought that was probably the first game I was like, okay, this kid really has something about him. Like, he's been okay at certain points. Obviously, at times he's got a bit of upside about him. But last week at lock, I thought he played his best game by far, in my opinion. I thought he was very, very strong. So I'm surprised he's been relegated. I don't know. Maybe he was. This might have been a late switch last week. I can't remember. Maybe he was on the bench and he was a late switch to lock. I don't think he was, but maybe. And then Pahulu. The Storm, so Xavier Coates, obviously, unfortunately, is out. Unfortunately, fucking Tyron Wishart is the winger. I think we were all hoping that the young Farlongo was going to get the spot because, I mean, he's just an absolute X factor. Just so good to watch. He is on the extended bench, but they've gone with the rock solid Tyron Wishart, which you can't knock because he does a job. He's nothing flashy, but he does his job and he does it acceptably. And then you've got obviously the rest of the back line as expected. Forward pack, Christian Welsh, Grant King, Blore and Eli Katoa are really just, I mean, I said it last week, I'm pretty sure I'll say it again many more times, but this back row combination is just getting stronger and stronger. Both just great ball runners, bit of offload, bit of skill about them. And then Trent Liero's looking good at lock. And then the bench, so Bronson Garlick at the 14, I guess, yeah, pretty much replaces Wishart as that utility. Joe Chan, looking excellent coming through the middle. Nelson and Alec McDonald is also, I mean, he just provides good energy, McDonald, as we see Sua Falongo on the extended. I would love a little late call-up, but I don't know. I think Wishart probably deserves it. You know, Farlongo is going to get a long-term spot eventually, but Wishart, he's just a battler, and he takes his opportunities, and I think he's earned it. I didn't make my tip, but yes, I'm tipping the Storm. I am tipping the Storm. Unfortunately for the Titans, I think it's going to be a tough one. Then we have the Cowboys v Dolphins. So this is an interesting one. I mean, the Dolphins are always so up and down. I feel like I never pick the Dolphins. Every time I pick them, they fucking let me down. Every time I don't pick them, they absolutely blow the opposition away. So I don't know. I never know what to do with the Dolphins. The Cowboys, obviously, they put up a really good fight against the Panthers. They were close to snatching that one, but didn't quite get the job done. Looking at their team, obviously, Tommy Chester gone with a Hemi, so that means the new recruit of Valia from the Warriors comes in. He was a potential cheapie prospect at the start of the year. We pondered that he might get a spot in this back line. It's good to see him. I mean, I thought the few games he played for the Warriors, he looked pretty strong, so I'm excited to see how he goes in this attacking Cowboys outfit. Semi Valamai, so still no Murray Talangi, obviously still out with that. What do you do, a Hemi as well, I think? Seems like a lot of Hemis lately. Tommy Dearden, Chad Townsend. Forward pack, so McLean, Niffin Green. Old Griffin Neem is still in the starting prop position, which I think he's earned the start as well. Reese Robson at dummy half. Fini Fuyaki, Nenai and Cotter. On paper, it's a pretty strong forward pack. And then the bench, oh baby, that bench is looking pretty good. Hila Maluki comes in. Jake Granville is gone. Oh my, he's finally not in the team. I'm sorry, Granville. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm glad you're gone. You've been here way too damn long. It's good to see you gone. But yeah, Lukey comes in. Thomas McKaylee, who I thought was actually really strong. He did come up with one silly error, but just, yeah, he had some powerful runs. He didn't get much game time, but he had the arm free. And just that, yeah, the offloading ability is just such a huge plus for any forward pack. Like, it's the best way to fucking beat Penrith is being able to offload the ball, because they are the kings at holding down and slowing the play the ball. You need to get some second phase, and Thomas McKaylee offers that very, very well. Then you got Sam McIntyre, who does a pretty good job, good utility, and then Jason Tamalolo. I mean, that bench is looking so much better than it was. Oh man, that is a big improvement. And obviously, I'm excited to see Helam Lukey come back. Obviously, he has screwed me in Supercoach for a couple of years, but it's great to see him back. I love watching him play. We'll see where he plays. I mean, I'm guessing he'll just come on for Fini Fuiaki at some point, which I think is fantastic. And then the Dolphins. So Kenny Bromwich is out. Trey Fuller, the excitement machine. Oh, he's good to watch. He's going to be a bit of a talking point as well. I know a few people are going to be keen to bring him in. I'm not, but I can understand the appeal, that is for sure. Jermaine Asako, also a guy I'm very interested in. The rest of the backline as expected. Obviously still no Herbie Farnworth. Nikarima, Isaac Katoa, forward pack, Nichols starts, Jesse Bromwich, Felice Kafusi, Ewan Aiken, and Maxi Plath, the absolute gun Plath. Oh, he's good. He's so good. I'm annoyed at myself I didn't pick him up last week, but yeah, he's still a good option this week. I still think he's a good option this week. We'll talk more about him. And then the bench of Kerr, who's been very good. Kurt Donahue, good utility. Stone, and Connolly Lemuelu, who comes back in. I don't think, was he playing? I think he was on the extended last week, Lemuelu. Lemuelu, I think, is fantastic as well. So I'm very excited to see him come back in. He was unbelievable for them last year in the back row. And to start the year, he was pretty good, obviously picking up that injury, but I'm keen to see him come back because he's great. Again, he provides an offload ball runner, really good. He can play in the outside backs if needed as well. Tough game. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, though. I know they're going to be favourites again. I'm going with all the favourites, apparently. I know the Dolphins are higher position. I still think the Cowboys would be favourites in this one. And I think, Trey Fuller has been great, but just not, I don't know. This is a game, again, the Dolphins are going to come out and just go fucking mental. But the Cowboys, I think after that performance against the Panthers, surely has just emboldened them like a bit more to show that they can do more than what they've been doing. So I expect them to be pretty strong in this one. I think their forward pack is looking really, really good. The impact off the bench, and yeah, I think that they'll have a few too many points for this Dolphins team. So it'll be a good game, though. It could be a good game in Townsville. Then we have the Knights v. the Warriors. So another cheapie on the radar. David Armstrong, who was very good in his debut last week. Great little try off the inside ball. He got his hands on the footy a lot. Took a lot of carries, a lot of tough carries. Good in the air. So I mean, good signs for the young kid. He's no Kalen Ponga, but he definitely did his job very well. So exciting to see for the young guy. Greg Marju, Gagai, Best, Tuala, Gamble Hastings, forward pack as you would expect, and then the bench is the exact same, I think. So unchanged from last week, which is always good. It's always good to see. The Warriors, who were very disappointing last week, I think they're unchanged as well, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Adam Fanor-Blake getting 2 tries, just... as a non-owner, Adam Fanor-Blake is probably the most frustrating Supercoach player because he's a goddamn front rower. He shouldn't just keep scoring, man. But He's just too good. He's just too good close to the line. You can't stop him. Like, Wade Egan is, like, his ball playing is excellent. And you just throw on the fact for Nrl Blake, like, you just can't stop it. Like, he doesn't move a lot, but just the slight movement off the left and the right, being able to swivel out of tackles, like, he's just too hard to stop. Close to the line. And honestly, against this Knights forward pack, fuck, I'm nervous again he's going to get another one. Honestly, I'm very nervous he's going to get another goddamn try. Barnett's been great for them. Kurt Capel comes back in. That means, Laban has gone back to the bench. Walker, Ali, and Bunty Afoa comes back in. He's been actually missing for a few weeks, so good to see Bunty come back in. I mean, they were very disappointing, but again, I gotta go with the Warriors. I can't see them losing in this game. It's another tough trip for them. They're taking on Newcastle in Newcastle. It's a tough one. They've obviously been. Actually, did they play? They played at home last week, didn't they? Did they? No. Or was that it? Fuck, I don't even remember. I feel like they've been traveling a bit regardless. It's a tough one. But surely there's a bounce back. Like, they were very good to start the year. Well, I don't know. I think they were a little bit misleading with their form, as I keep knocking my fucking shaker. I think they were a little misleading with their form and some of their wins, but they're still... surely they win this game. I know the Knights were very good as well last week, but you got to tip the Warriors. I mean, you just have to in this one. If they don't win this one, I think there's... something's up with the Warriors in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, you got the Sean Johnson injury / pain tolerance in his Achilles, which could be affecting a little bit of the ball playing. But yeah, I don't know. Their attack is just looking a little bit one-dimensional, which is strange because they're just, I don't know, they're not hitting those edges like they were last year, which is, it's weird because what has changed? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. We'll move on. Sharkies v the Dragons. This is actually, it's an interesting game because, I mean, you got the Dragons, Shane Flanagan coaching against his old club. He got banned from Jack Bird playing against his old club, so it could be a fun little matchup, this one for sure. The Sharkies, I mean, they've been in great form. I mean, people can argue they haven't played the best of the best teams, but they're still looking very good. Like, they're defending well. Their attack is really starting to gel. The loss of Trindle, if we're being honest, didn't really affect it. And I mean, it's hard to tell. That was a massive thumping that they dished out against the Raiders. So time will tell if missing Trindle is really going to impact their overall play. But I mean, I thought Atkinson did his job pretty well. Nico Hines just steered the ship as he does, and the rest of the players just did their job as well. Kaeliro has looked just every bit the first grader since coming in. The forward pack, I mean, Tommy Hazleton has gone to another level. Fuck, I was so keen on him in the preseason, but just the potential minutes and the amount of forwards, but all of a sudden, I mean, he's a try-scoring, just attacking machine that he's just a little bit too far gone now. But, oh, man. Oh, it would have been nice to have him in your team. Big old Tommy Hazleton getting the start now. Britton Nickera bounced back a little bit last week with a nice try and a nice little boost. So he is definitely on the radar potentially this week. Teague Wilton, McInnes does what he does. Fucking busts himself open, but just scores tries, makes a million tackles and does what he does. And then the bench, very strong. Jack Williams, Sifa Talakai, Rudolph, and Huali. The Dragons, however, Moses Suli obviously gone with that head knock, nasty collision in the Roosters game. So that means, Tuipulotu keeps his spot. Jack Bird, did he miss last week? Yeah, did he? No, he was playing because, Lomax was on the wing. Jack Bird came in late. So Bird in the centres, Lomax goes back to the centres for Sully. which I think is fine. Like, again, if you own Lomax, I think it is better on the wing, but I think at centre he's still going to be great for Supercoach reasons. The rest of it is the same. Frankie Molo, Saleh, Eisenhuth, Farmonu Brown, I think has been pretty good since coming over. Blake Laurie, DeBellin, and Murdoch Masilla. I mean, this round, I feel like the last few rounds have been an absolute nightmare to tip, but this round, I'm, are we likely to get out of 8 out of 8? No, there's always a couple upsets, especially early-ish in the season, but this is a pretty easy round to tip. Like, just gut feel. It's just hard to go against most of these sides, and the Sharkies, how are you not going to tip them? They're playing at points bet. Their form has been great. Like, yeah. I feel like, the grudge match of Shane Flanagan, they're going to be up for it, but surely the Sharks are too strong in this one. I expect them to win. I don't expect them to pump the Dragons. Like, the Dragons were disappointing, but I feel like this is a week where they'll bounce back, and defensively they'll be more up for it and be a little bit more aggressive. So I'm expecting a good game, though. That's what I'm expecting. So that pretty much wraps it up. Honestly, not many. No real out of left field pickups or whatnot. The only big ones are from the Raiders, with no Schiller and no Chevy Stewart. Other than that, I think everything. I guess Liam Henry also being. I think he must be like an injury, right? Because he wasn't on the extended, so it'd be a little weird if he was just dropped for some reason. But other than that, hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll be back soon for the round 9 preview. So stay tuned for that. See you guys then.